Game 2 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals as the Boston Celtics host the Chicago Bulls. This is the Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone. I'm joined by SB Nation's Jason Pat to preview the second game of this first round matchup. Jason, thank you for coming through. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for having me on again.
So aside from the rebounding differential, because that's been the talk of the town here in Boston, I mean, of course, this isn't the first time we've seen the Celtics blow a game where they just got completely demolished down low. But what's your biggest takeaway from game one?
I think besides rebounding, like you said, one of the biggest problems for the Celtics was just the complete inability to score when Isaiah Thomas hit the bench. Obviously, Isaiah had an incredible game with all the emotion. He still put up 33 points. I believe he was like a plus 12, maybe. I think it was a plus 12. So that means the Celtics were outscored by 16 when he was on the bench. They just could not get anything going. There was the first span that he was out. I think the Celtics lost 7 or 8 straight possessions without scoring, and the Bulls turned a 5-point deficit into a 5-point lead. And then it happened again where they just couldn't score. So Celtics are going to have to find a way to get consistent offense with ITs on the bench because he can't play 48 minutes. He's got to get rest sometime. So whether that's Horford doing more, whether that's Marcus Smart scoring more, I don't know if we'll see Terry Rozier in game 2, but they just have to be better. It's been a problem for most of the year, and it's been even worse since the All-Star break. So they're going to have to figure that out.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like the Celtics were sort of trying to shoot their way back into the game because every time they tried to make moves to the rim, I mean, the Bulls were there constantly making huge defensive stops towards the end of that fourth quarter. Is that something that we can start to get used to throughout the series, Jason, or do you think the Celtics are going to be able to readjust here and find some way to get shots at the rim?
I do think they should be better at some point because I still think the Celtics are still a pretty good offensive team. Like I said, even when IC was on the floor, they still had a good overall offensive rating. It was just those minutes without him. So I just think the Celtics will make their adjustments. Like I said, the big part is to see what happens when IT goes to the bench. That means Smart maybe does more post-ups. I know he's the post-up player this year. They need to get more dribble penetration, maybe more touches for Al Horford around the basket. Something we'll have to figure out.
Celtics coach Brad Stevens says that Isaiah Thomas will in fact play in Game 2 before heading to Washington to be with his family. Thomas, of course, like you said, scored a game-high 33 points on Sunday, so we know what he's capable of. But which other Celtics player do you envision making an impact in tonight's game?
They're going to need Jay Crowder to be much better. He had an absolutely terrible game, and he missed a few layups. He shot, I think, 1 of 5 from 3. And, Jay Crowder is definitely a better player than that, so I would expect him to be better. Horford overall had a solid game. You hope for him to be a little better on the board. He's never been that type of player. Avery Bradley could probably shoot a little better. You hopefully get a little more production out of Kelly Olynyk off the bench. He didn't play very well. And Marcus Smart hit some unexpected threes in that game, and had some nice assists. So I think probably Crowder is the best one where you're looking for a turnaround. Because he was in foul trouble. He missed his threes. He missed a few layups, so they've always seen a lot more out of Jay Crowder.
CLNS Radio Celtics pregame report is being powered by the SeatGeek ticketing app, the smartest and easiest way to buy and sell sports and concert tickets. Get a $20 rebate off your first purchase by downloading the free SeatGeek app to your phone. Go to the settings tab and click add a promo code and enter the code CELTSNEWS. That's CELTSNEWS, all one word, for a $20 rebate, and so SeatGeek knows who sent you. Jason, what do the Bulls need to do in order to win Game 2?
They don't have to do a lot more of the same. They got to pound the glass, continue playing defense. They need Jimmy Butler to be huge again. Jimmy struggled for much of the first half, but then when he came up big down the stretch, they're going to need that out of Jimmy. They could probably stand to shoot a little better. They shot terribly at the start of the game, but the offensive rebound stayed in it. So that's been the Bulls' formula a lot of the year. They pound the offensive glass, and then they rely on Jimmy Butler, and then to a lesser extent, Dwayne Wade to take them home down the stretch. So the Bulls just going to want to keep it close, getting down to late in the fourth quarter, and then they hope that Jimmy and Wade can win the game for them.
Would you say that shooting is their biggest concern?
Yeah. I believe they missed their first 11 threes, and they finally started to heat up in the second half when Jimmy started hitting a few ridiculous threes, and Jerry Grant hit a big three, and Bobby Portis hit some big shots. So the Bulls' shooting has been pretty brutal for much of the year. It has improved the last couple weeks or so with different lineups, even pushing out Nikola Mirotic shot better. He was really bad yesterday. But between him and Portis, usually if one of them plays really well, that's good for them. So the Bulls are going to have to just shoot well enough, like I said, to keep them in games. crash out the boards when they do shoot poorly, and then, like I said, they need Jimmy to be Jimmy, and then they can keep it competitive.
All right, prediction time, Jason. Who wins game 2?
Yeah, I was wrong in the first time. I said the Celtics would win game 1. I want to get the Bulls always win these silly game 1, so I should have just stuck with that. But I can't imagine the Celtics going down and losing both games at home. They've been a really good home team all season. This last game yesterday was obviously such an emotional roller coaster with the Isaiah Thomas and his sister dying in that car crash. And as good as he was, obviously there were still some moments where you could still tell that he just wasn't all there all the time. So I think once with all that, hopefully done. Obviously, he's leaving the team after game 2, but maybe with that, maybe a little more settled down. The Celtics as a team are a little more focused. I just can't see them losing both in a row. So I will again say the Celtics will win game 2. I also don't think the Bulls are good enough to win two in a row on the road. So I'm saying he'll go back to Chicago or go to Chicago with a 1-1.
He is Jason Pat of SB Nation's blog of Bull. You can follow him on Twitter at Bulls_J. That is at Bulls_J. Jay, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on again. Take it easy.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics pregame report. Special thanks to Jason of SB Nation for joining me and to everyone who tuned in to yet another pregame report. Tonight's postgame show will air immediately following tonight's game on clnsradio.com. Call in toll free at 347-215-7771 after the game to get on the airwaves. Or, just like this show, you can listen to it on demand anytime, any place, anywhere on the CLNS Radio mobile app. Be sure to check out the Garden Report after the game on the CLNS Radio YouTube channel at youtube.com/CLNS Radio for all the raw and uncut videos from the locker room and the press table after the game. We'll see everyone back here this Friday for Game 3 as the Celtics will head to Chicago. Weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Radio mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.